It's kind of cute. It's like you're just a little squishy. My face gets kind of round and I'm like, oh no. But it's fine. Like, it's cute. I've learned to like it. Like, I look in the mirror on my period and I'm like, oh yeah, where's the jawline? We don't know. It's okay. Hi friends. Hi beautiful people. Welcome back to Of Grace, Strength, and Dignity. If you don't know me, if you're new here, my name is Courtney, and I'm just a girl who really loves Jesus, and I'm passionate about marriage and femininity and love and all things Jesus. I come from a crazy background. I had a brain that was really promiscuous. Didn't always act on it, thank you Lord, but this thought process was crazy. And the Lord rescued me from that. I've had alcohol addiction. I overcame that by the blood of the Lamb, and we're here. This is crazy. I'm so happy to be here right now in our new apartment. And I always say household. It's apartment hold for now. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Hi. Okay. First of all, aloe vera juice is a new thing. You can go to Whole Foods or whatever, grocery store, Sprouts. Whole leaf aloe vera juice. It's quite bitter. It's quite bitter, but it is so good. It's no calories, it's no sugar, but it is so hydrating. I've been drinking it every single morning before coffee. But like your gut, like it seals your gut lining. It's so amazing. Anyway, this video is not about aloe vera juice. I'm just excited about that. Speaking of health and bodies in flow, happy bodies, I am so excited for today's topic. We're talking about cycle syncing. Okay, huge disclaimer. With this video today, I'm talking about women's health. I'm not a doctor, okay? Jesus freak, yes. Doctor, no. Every single woman's body is different. We have different needs, and while our cycles are relatively the same, meaning we all should have a period and, should go through those things, I understand for a lot of women that's not the case, and there's many complications with diet, lifestyle, and we live in a world of sin, and so our bodies reap that effect of sin, and we have issues, endometriosis, PCOS, all kinds of things that I'm not even aware of, and so I know that, okay? So take everything I say with a grain of salt. In this video, I'm just talking about my personal experience and the things that I've learned, and yeah, that's that. So don't come for me and say just do your own research, get with your own kind of doctor. I prefer holistic route of everything. Huge disclaimer, okay? Cycle syncing is a new concept to me. I turned 30 this past April. I heard about cycle syncing when I was 29, a year ago. So it's only been a year. I have been wanting to make this video for so long, but I had to make sure I did all my research, and I had to understand it myself and apply it before I can make a video on it, obviously. It's like got a lime to it. Just a little, like a natural lime. I'm in such a good mood. I'm so excited. Focus. Anyways, literally a year ago, I was going for a walk out on the beach, and I was just enjoying my life in California. I know I talk about that all the time, but I love it. I love my life in California. I thank the Lord for it every single day. He could take it at any moment, and so I soak it in. I soak it all up. Anyway, that being said, I was doing that, and I was walking, and I was in a moment of my life where I was recently married, super happy. I was working. I was in not a rut, but I was at a turning point where I'm like, I'm 29, and I'm married, and life is great, but what's my next step? What's my next biggest step? And I was talking to God about that as I'm walking down the beach, whatever, and just trying to read my Bible and talk to Jesus while I enjoy my day at the beach and say, Lord, what's my next step? Because it certainly is not going to be dentistry. Like, I had been doing it for 10 years at that point, and so thankful for the opportunities and the job, and I was so good at it, which is, I say that humbly, but it surprised me because I was like, wow, I'm like, I felt right in line with it, and it was great for what it did for me at the time, and I've always had really great people that I worked for and with, and so I'm super thankful, but I was feeling like, it's time. I'm talking to God, what is my next step? And I had been seeing on Instagram during that time, I had been seeing a lot of stuff about cycle syncing, and like your menstrual cycle, and what does that mean, and I blew it off. I just kind of passed by it because I'm like, you have a period every month, or you're pregnant. What do you mean? Like, it's not that difficult. Just careful when you have sex if you don't want to get pregnant, and whatever. Like, that's it like was so basic to me. I was like, there's not much you need to know. Oh my Lanta. I was taken aback. The Lord really, like, I was very taken aback. The Lord really, like, put it back in my brain. The Holy Spirit made me remember this one day I'm at the beach just sitting there, and boom, it just popped up in my head. Was like, remember that reel you saw by that one girl? And remember all of those posts that you kept scrolling past? And I can remember when I saw them, I was like, what is that? Like, no. But the Lord reminded me of it. That's kind of how the Lord speaks to you sometimes. You'll just have like a memory that you're like, where did that come from? I didn't hear his audible voice. I've never heard the voice of God. Okay, I'm not saying people can't, and they certainly have in the past, absolutely, in the Old Testament, but I've never heard that. And so when I say I heard God, what I mean is he put it on my heart. I felt it in my spirit, and when you are attuned with Jesus, those things happen, and that's kind of how you hear from him. And reading this, because a lot of the things he'll remind you of, if it aligns with scripture. Anyway, that's a tangent about hearing God. Long story short, he brought it back to my attention, and it was really heavy on my brain and on my heart that he was like, you need to lean into that. Like, lean back into that. Go back to that girl's page and check out what she was saying, because, like, you need that. So I did. I was like, okay, I went back, and it turns out that my next step in life was to focus on my cycle, because while I was really happy at that time in my life, like I've been sober for so long, which was a big battle for 5 years. It was just like a breath of fresh air. And when you go through that big of a battle, you feel on top of the world just simply because you're sober, right? But I had been sober for a while, and so I was feeling great. What's the next step? And I knew it was quitting my job. I knew that because I knew I was at the end of the road with dentistry. I was just like, okay, like enough is enough. I'm no longer happy. That was definite at the end of my road. And then it was also the cycle syncing. So that's what I did. I dove back into it. This is the good part of Instagram and social media. There's a lot of really knowledgeable people that I've gained so much information and have helped me immensely and mentored me without knowing. And I'm so thankful for it, because the past year I've been cycle syncing. It's insane the way my brain has just exploded in realization of how much school didn't teach me and how unaware of all of this I was. And maybe in high school's defense, maybe they were not taught to teach us that. I don't know. Maybe they didn't know themselves. It's some of the teachers I can remember were some of the most miserable women. No offense. God, Lord love them, and that's why I pray for them. But I can remember some miserable women. I don't know, just talking really bad about the menstrual cycle. And that's my experience. Was I just had some teachers that didn't have a good experience with it. And they, as women themselves, were not, at least I say, in their femininity. They weren't happy with themselves, and you could like feel it. Now I look back and I realize that's what was going on. But anyways, I've always had a bad, what you're taught when you're young, it sticks with you. And so it stuck with me. I was like, oh, it's just like pregnancy is terrible. Oh my gosh, like you're just going to get so smelly and fat, and you're going to hate yourself, and cankles and cravings and pimples, and you're going to hate your husband, and I'm not saying any of that doesn't happen. Every woman's experience is different, but when that's all you've been taught is that pregnancy is an awful experience, don't do it. Periods are a nightmare. Women are so emotional. Boys in high school were some of the meanest boys. I was literally bullied by boys, I can remember, among many other girls. I mean, I just had the hardest time in high school. It was such a nightmare for me. But boys were so mean, like even grown men. Women are, till this day still, like women are emotional, and it's such a negative speech about women. And then even women ourselves, we just agree with it. We're like, yeah, I guess we're crazy. I guess we're emotional. And I believed that. I believed I was crazy. So my point in saying this is the picture painted for me of menstrual cycles and pregnancy and what it is to be a woman was not very good. My mom is a really hard worker. My mom is really, really strong. A woman should not have to be strong in the way my mom had to be, because my dad sucked and he was not a good man, and long story. But so my upbringing around women it honestly was just really sad. Thank the Lord. What it means to really be in your femininity, the essence of being a woman, is not rejecting our bodies, and it's not hating our design and our beautiful, too emotional, but actually intuitive, amazing, profound, intuitive nature that a woman has when she's in touch and in tune with herself, the way God wants us to be, it is our biggest superpower, our most beautiful superpower. And it is the thing that a real man loves the most. And it's like, you think of a woman, I know this is going to get so like cheesy and overly maybe like romanticized, but bear with me, it's true. Women really are, in our essence of our femininity, a delicate flower, and a good man would protect that at all costs. Protects it, loves it. That is my flower. Don't hurt her. He won't hurt her. Okay, I know, that's like, what are you talking about? But it's like, that's how I see it. That's how my brain now sees it, but I never saw it that way. I knew in my spirit, I could feel it. I was like, something's not right. But now I can see the whole thing. And so there's such a lack of clarity in women's cycles and women's emotions and pregnancy and your period. And again, like I was saying, I was not painted a very beautiful picture of the essence of being a woman and seriously diving into your femininity, and you blossom. You just do. You blossom. It's the most beautiful thing. Now, that was like the missing element, was the Lord was like, you think I don't care about this, but God cares about every single detail in your life, every single detail. I had someone once tell me, it was sinning. I was sinning with this person, and I was like, I don't, and I said it out loud. I said, oh, God's going to be so mad at me. And I remember this person was like, God doesn't care. God doesn't care about you right now. Like, he's got wars and big things in the world to worry about. He's not worried about you. What a lie. What a demonic lie this person was spewing and didn't even know that the demons were just breaching out of this person. God cares about every single detail. If God created and cares about every detail to how a butterfly goes into the cocoon and comes out, down to that molecular level, to the huge astronomical outernesses of space, he is the big picture and the tiny, tiny details. God cares about everything. And so yes, God cares about your cycle. And it is what we're made for. It is what we're made for. It is why culture is so backwards. And my very honest and what I believe to be truth opinion is that culture is so freaking backwards for women. We're reversing it slowly, thankfully, because of topics brought up like this, cycle syncing, and what does that mean, and trying to understand what it means to be a woman and this tradwife biblical femininity. And it can be a little cheesy and overdone, and I get it, but it's true. Nonetheless, it's true. And we need to get back to that, because when I was working, everything in my life was great. I didn't necessarily hate my job. I just hated it. And I was trying to figure out, what is that missing piece that I'm so upset about? It's because, well, women are not meant to hustle like a man. And I was hustling like a man. I'm expected to have the same attitude and emotions. And I mean, I am a happy, bubbly person, but when the luteal phase hits and the menstrual phase hits, you just need to get away from people sometimes. You just want to go off in a corner and eat your pizza and your ice cream, okay? And just have your weird little cravings and just say, don't talk to me and don't question me. Just get away from me. I just want peace. I just don't want to deal with you and your cavities. And that was just like, when I was working during my luteal and menstrual phase, I was like, dude, I don't want to be in your mouth right now. I don't. This is the last place I want to be. I don't want to deal with you. And so women are different every single week of the month. Our bodies go through a very drastic change and fluctuation of hormones every single week, and we require different needs each week. Men are not like that. Obviously, we all have heard this and know this, that men are simple. Men are known to be very just straight to the point. They're simple. They don't overthink. They're good, masculine, strong men. They are very calm, and this does make sense for their hormones, because men have I never knew this. School didn't teach me this. Can't believe it. And if it did, it just didn't register. Maybe because I was so concerned with how she just freaked me out about pregnancy. Gosh, I remember watching this lady, just this poor thing. I hope she's doing okay. I hope she's all right. Is this crooked? Oh, she was miserable. She was so miserable, but she was working. She was an English teacher and pregnant. And so I can't say I blame her, because she shouldn't be working, is my whole point. If she was at home and could just focus on taking care of her body and keeping herself healthy, resting and putting her feet up when she needs to, maybe she wouldn't be so miserable. So I can't say that I blame her. Now it makes sense. Anyways, what was I saying? Men's hormones. Men's hormones are so easy. Every single day, every morning, they rise with the sun and then they set with the moon, and they rise back up with the sun, and they set with the moon, and they rise with the sun. And it's very simple for them. Every single day, their testosterone resets, and they're ready to go. They are ready for action. They're ready to work. They're ready to get it done. Know what I'm saying? That is a man. Simple, easy. One hormone is resetting. Okay? God created men to have a high testosterone and be able to be ready to fight on the battlefield and protect and go and be the provider. Like, that's why they have such high testosterone. Now, some women, this is where it comes into play that, like, it's not cookie cutter. Everybody is different. And some women, you see some women in the army and they're able to get up and do those things. One of my good friends, Caitlin, like I've mentioned in a video before, she's a chiropractor, owns her own business. She's a woman of God. She loves the Lord, and but she's a go-getter. She's a go-getter. She is like a modern day Deborah. Deborah led armies. Caitlin has that spirit about her. Caitlin's got that grit, but she's a girl. Like, she's a girl's girl. You know, she does her nails, and that doesn't mean that, like, you're not feminine because you work a job, and that's not what that means. So that's what I was saying about trad wife. Just kind of had me for a second, because it had this play that, like, you have to. Well, that's another story. It doesn't matter. So every woman is very different. But in the grand scheme of things, and that's what I'm talking about, talking big picture here. We can talk about details in a different video, but the grand scheme of things is that's what men were built for. Women, on the other hand, we're much softer. We're much more intricate. We are much more complex. God designed it that way. It's not a flaw. It's not something that should be made fun of by men. And if you make fun of it as a man, you are masculine and you suck. You don't know how to love a woman. Like, period. But for the men that understand this, I'm going to use my husband as an example because he's my husband and I'm married to him, and I've dated really awful men in the past, and I've been mocked by men, I've been made fun of, and I went along with it because I believed it too. I was like, yeah, I'm a little too sensitive. You're right. I guess I'm crazy. No, my husband's like, no, babe, what? You're not crazy. Like, it makes sense. And so I was in my luteal phase, or I was PMSing, and you have different needs. And so I think it is so important for not only us women to understand it, but also for men to understand it, because the more you know, the more you know. And the more you know, the more respect you have for things in life. You know, there is a lot out there about cycle syncing, but it's not always beneficial. What is that Bible verse? 1 Corinthians 10:23. Everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. You have what was I saying? Right. I remember. So there was a lot out there about cycle syncing, but it had to do with the new age practices, okay? Manifesting, healing your menstrual cycle as if it's something that needs to be eradicated by crystals and stones, and Reiki healing and chakra alignment, and speaking to the universe. And us Jesus girlies and Christians, we know that's demonic and it's false and it's a lie. And the scary thing is, it does work. Like, if you do tarot card readings, they work. And if you do your astrology and you talk to the stars and all of that, it works, but it's just not working for your good the way God does. The universe doesn't have a soul. The universe doesn't know who you are. It doesn't know your name. It can't speak with you. When you think you're speaking with the universe and you think you're speaking with something good that doesn't have a name, because you can't put a name to it, you literally just say false gods that are dead, that never rose back from the dead. These people are dead. They're dead. They died. They are in one of two places, okay? And if they didn't take Jesus as their Lord and Savior, then we know the one they're in, and that's a scary place to be, and they ain't thinking about you, okay? They're thinking about their own pain. You are speaking to something, but it's dressed as a form of light, and they're actually demons that you're talking to. And just to really back that point up, because I am passionate about this, I didn't know that this was such a big deal, and I'm not shunning you if you are into new age practices and you do that, believe me, because I did too. I didn't know. I had no idea. I was like, oh, I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign, like, I'm so sassy, that makes sense. No, you're in fight or flight. You need Jesus. So I'm not bashing you. There is a truth. It is my obligation and duty as a Christian who now is walking in the light and has the truth to tell you the truth, and what you do with the truth is up to you. So you can get mad at me, you can hate me, that's fine. I'm good with that. I don't even know you, but I love you enough to tell you the truth so that you can at least maybe look into this. But let me give you some verses to tell you why. Just listen. Deuteronomy 4:19. And when you look up into the sky and see the sun, moon, and stars, all the forces of heaven, don't be seduced into worshiping them. The Lord your God gave them to the peoples of the earth. Leviticus 19:31. Do not defile yourselves by turning to mediums or to those who consult the spirits of the dead. I am the Lord your God. Spirits of the dead, that's all they are. They're dead. They don't hear you. Demons hear you, and angels hear you. Which one are you giving right to in your life? It's legal, truly. You have to sign in the spirit that I give Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, or demons. Anyway, Isaiah 47. Oh, that's right. Isaiah 47, 13 through 14. All the advice you receive has made you tired. Where are all of your astrologers, those stargazers who make predictions each month? Let them stand up and save you from what the future holds. But they can't. They're like straw burning in a fire. They cannot even save themselves from the flame. You will get no help from them at all. Their hearth is no place to sit for your warmth. Yo, I'm just saying, okay? And so with cycle syncing, there was a lot of that kind of stuff. Was like, I literally saw something that was like, manifest away your period and align your fertility with the gods of fertility. And I'm like, what? No, girl. No, my child. The Lord your God. And so as a follower of Christ, we don't worship the world. Do not love the world or anything in it. This world is cursed. We are cursed. Everything in it's cursed. That's why we get wrinkles. That's why we grow old. That's why we age. That's why things decay and break down. That's why animals eat each other. They were never supposed to eat each other. We were never supposed to have that. But everything feels the effects of sin. When Adam and Eve, the whole world flipped. And whatever beauty is left of it, thank God for it. And I do. I thank God for the ocean and the gorgeous palm trees and the sun. But it is all passing away. It's decaying. It's cursed. The world is cursed. And so I don't turn to that. I don't worship that. I don't look to the stars that are going to fall out the sky one day that don't even know my name. That is creation itself. It's soulless, thoughtless, emotionless. So being thoughtlessly obedient to something that's not even living, it's actually dying. Everything is dying and getting older. We're dying every day. I'm dying every day, and then I'm going to be brought into a new life, and I can't wait. Even all of that of creation is obedient. The waves of the ocean, the trees, all of it is obedient to its creator, Yahweh. And so we have to be as well. Don't turn to the stars. Don't turn to the moon. Any of that, okay? You got it? Capiche? So what is cycle syncing? Cycle syncing, very simply put, is the practice of aligning your lifestyle with your phase each week of the month. That's not very simply put, but aligning your lifestyle to your menstrual cycle. So your exercise, your diet, your activity, your work schedule, aligning all of that with your cycle to be in sync in order to optimize physical and mental well-being. Emphasis on mental well-being. My gosh. Each phase involves hormonal shifts that can affect your energy, mood, and physical performance. Yep. And so in this video today, I want to talk about those 4 phases. They have names. The hormones at play in each phase, symptoms that you might experience in each phase, food you should eat for each phase to help you optimize feeling the best, and then good movement, good exercises for each phase. Now, this is all very personal. Maybe applicable or non-applicable to you is going to be the movements and the food. This is all based on me, because I can only speak for me. I can't speak for all women, obviously, and I don't want to. So take from this what you will. Whatever's helpful, awesome. If you're inspired by anything I say when it comes to diet and movement, then that's also great, but it's not like you have to eat what I eat and you have to move who I move. You have to move how I move. That's not it. That's not what I'm saying. Please don't get it twisted. So here we go. Let's talk about it. Before I get into this, diet, I am carnivore based. My basis of my diet is meat. We buy our beef from a rancher, so we know it's grass-fed and grass-finished regenerative farming. I'm sorry, I sound like I'm bragging. Look at me, and I promise I'm not trying to. I just bless, and I'm lucky enough to be able to have that, and so that's what we do. So I will add that in before I get into this. That is the basis of what I eat. But I also eat fruit and some veggies. It's just that I'm predominantly carnivore based. So, cycle syncing. Let's finally talk about the phases. Let's start with the obvious one, menstruation. The thing about these phases, I don't know who came up with this, and I want to give credit to whoever came up with this. This is such a brilliant analogy that our 4 phases are like 4 seasons. So your menstruation is similar to winter. Think like going into hibernation. When you are on your period and you're menstruating, the hormones at play here, your hormone estrogen plummets, as well as progesterone. These hormones are down. Estrogen is like the energy hormone, and when that's down, girl, everything's down. You're tired. Your body, when you're bleeding, is shedding and getting rid of the lining it created on your uterus to nourish and give a nice bed for the baby to sleep in your womb. That is why your body creates a lining on your uterus that is nutrient dense and rich and full of blood, and it's there to literally grow your baby. And the bed is waiting for a baby. It doesn't get a baby if it's not fertilized. Your body gets rid of it that month and says, well, it didn't happen, and so we're going to get rid of it, because every month your body wants to create a brand new bed for a potential baby, which I love. I love that it's like, hey, we're not going to keep an old bed and let it get dusty and rusty and crusty until a baby comes along. It's like, no, each baby, each egg deserves a brand new bed made just for him or her. And I love that. I think it's so sweet and cute. I know that might seem weird, but I just happen to think that's just adorable. God is like, no, I make a brand new bed for each egg. Each egg deserves its own little sweet bed. We don't repurpose it like that. But that being said, if you didn't get fertilized, then it gets rid of the bed. Your body's like, we got to rip off the sheets. And so that's what's happening when you're bleeding, is your uterus is shedding that lining that it created. And when this happens, like I said, your estrogen and progesterone are down. So you are going to feel very tired, very sleepy, exhausted, bloated, irritable, very introverted, like hibernation. You're truly just, me personally, when I'm on my period, I feel better now on my period that I'm not working and I don't have to deal with people's cavities and stuff. But I like to just, and I'm thankful that I get to be home and just do what I need to do to take care of myself. Truly, you're physically and emotionally depleted. Oh, water retention. So you might feel a little bit puffy in your face and your fingers and your hands. It's kind of cute. It's like you're just a little squishy. You know, my face gets kind of round and I'm like, oh no, but it's fine. Like, it's cute. I've learned to like it. Like, I look in the mirror on my period and I'm like, oh yeah, where's the jawline? We don't know. It's okay. I've noticed sometimes my joints get kind of achy, my muscles get kind of sore, so maybe a little bit of nausea, headache is normal. Not often, not so much anymore, thankfully. I think that's because I changed my diet, but I used to get really bad migraines when I was working and I was on my period. Oh my gosh, the worst migraines, probably because I just didn't want to deal with anybody. I was like, what do you want? Go away. And nausea. So those are some common symptoms, some symptoms I experience. Speaking of nausea, when I was nauseous on my period going into diet, one of the things I loved was bone broth with a little bit of butter and lemon juice and olive oil. I would just sip that all day. Like, if I didn't really have an appetite, because sometimes you won't have an appetite on your period, I would just sip that all day, and it was amazing. I loved it. I would just like sleep, watch movies, and sip bone broth. Like, you're sick. It's kind of like you're sick, like you're healing. That's just like a little side note. But with this diet, when you're menstruating, I like to think foods to eat, think like dark and rich in color. So like I said, I'm predominantly carnivore, so a lot of red meat, because also on your period, because you're bleeding, you're losing a lot of iron, and iron gives your blood, I think it gives your blood oxygen. I'm probably wrong about that, but something with oxygen and iron in your blood, it makes you have energy. And when you're losing that, then you don't have energy. And so you're depleted. And so you need to refill on iron-rich foods. And so for me, I just love a nice, fat, juicy steak, like a red, almost raw steak, but also dark berries. I love dark berries. Blueberries, the little wild ones, little tiny ones, wild blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, dark sweet cherries. Those dark sweet cherries help you sleep. And it kind of makes you feel calm and relaxed. I love a dark sweet cherry smoothie. I mix it with like this collagen bone broth protein powder I have with some dark sweet cherries, a little bit of kefir. Kefir is kind of like a yogurt. It's probiotic yogurt. And I'll mix that with just a little bit of little splash of maple syrup, some salt, some dates. Dates are really good. Dates have a lot of magnesium, so that'll make you feel calm, and magnesium helps ease any cramping. So dates are good, and then like a little splash of raw milk, and I'll mix that all up together, and it's so good. It's so good on a hot summer day, and that cold, just sweet and tart shake. It's one of my favorite things. So just think dark and rich in color. Those are really great meals, but on the other hand, you might really experience cravings. Your metabolism is kicked up a notch, so that's nice to know, but unfortunately, knowing that, I'm like, that means I can eat more. And sometimes, yes, I do really crave a pizza or some of my husband's homemade ice cream, and I'll just eat the whole container. And I am going to urge you and encourage you to practice self-control. One of the many beautiful fruits of the spirit, practice self-control, because I know that we crave those things. And I'm not gonna lie, it's all about balance and calculated risk. I know pizza, fast food, something greasy, like you just kind of want something nasty that's not healthy, but it's so yummy on your palate and you're craving it and you don't really care. I know all that sounds really good, but if you can help it, try to avoid that, because it's only going to add to the inflammation and the bloating and the water retention, and it's only going to make you feel worse. And so, like I said, calculated risk. And the more you know, like RFK said, listen, I'm not trying to get rid of McDonald's, but if you're going to choose McDonald's, at least know what you're doing. And you can still choose it if you want, but at least know what's going into your body. And so, but it is all about balance, because I love pizza. Pizza is legitimately my favorite food, and my husband has this like app on his phone that he can look up restaurants around the area to see what ones are seed oil free. And thankfully here in the area that we're in SoCal, there's a lot of really good restaurants that are seed oil free, and they have really good food. And so sometimes he'll just go get me a pizza and I kind of eat it guilt free because it's seed oil free, and I'm like, whatever. So I'm not saying like don't do it, but if you can avoid, even though it's seed oil free and somewhat healthy, it's a lot of salt and it's dense because it's carbs. I'm carb sensitive. I really just cannot eat carbs because I blow up. I literally will blow up. But honey, it's all about balance and, like I said, calculated risk. Movement for your menstrual cycle. This is not the time to force it. Don't push yourself. Okay, if you're feeling up to it, great. Sometimes on my period, I'm surprised because I'm like, I actually have a lot of energy. And if I have the energy, then I'll do a great workout and a more advanced level of Pilates. But most of the time I don't. And so don't push it. Don't force yourself and don't beat yourself up about it. This movement during this is I literally will just go for nice walks. So I'll just put on some comfy, loose, airy, breathable clothing, and I'll just go for a walk on the beach or just go for a walk. It doesn't matter where you are. If you can't go for a walk outside, stretching and just like center core breath work and like balance at home. There's so much stuff on YouTube that's incredible. Pilates Body Raven has amazing workouts on her YouTube channel specifically for your period. And so I've done a couple of her workouts, and they're like, it's like lower back stretching and abdominal like breath work and stuff like that. And so there's options, but just long story short, gentle, calm movement. You don't want to push yourself. And to add on to this, I have some Bible verses that I like to cling to during this time. Psalm 23, 1-3. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. I love this because it emphasizes the fatigue and somewhat emotional and physical distress that we're under. It reminds me that, God calls for us to have rest and renewal. In Ecclesiastes, there's a time for everything. There's a time to get up and move, and there's a time to sit back and rest. And during this time, sit back and rest. And so I love that verse because it's so perfect. This other one is funny. 1 Kings 19, 5-7. The Lord is speaking to Elijah. I think it's Elijah he's speaking to. Then he lay down and slept under the broom tree. But as he was sleeping, an angel touched him and told him, "Get up and eat." He looked around, and there beside his head was some bread baked on hot stones and a jar of water. So he ate and drank, and he lay down again. Then the angel of the Lord came again and touched him and said, "Get up and eat some more, or the journey ahead will be too much for you." And so this is simple because it's like literally the angel was speaking to Elijah and said, "Bro, you just need to rest, and then you need to eat. And then rest, and then eat." And sometimes that's all we need. And so that's just a reminder to self-control in all things and above everything, and also grace. Enjoy. It's okay to have some ice cream and some pizza. You're not going to die. And just to rest. The Lord calls for us to rest in certain seasons of our life. And so obviously with the menstrual cycle, honey, just rest and eat. It's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. We got to get rid of that boss babe, think, act like a man culture. No, you're a woman. You're a woman. Your body's going through so much that a man's does not go through. internally your body is burning so many calories to like get rid of this thing, and it's doing so much to try to make a baby, and it's kind of upset at you when you don't give it a baby. And so you just gotta not be upset with yourself and add on to it. Relax and rest. Okay, when your period ends, you then go into your follicular phase. Follicular phase is like your springtime. So think like flowers getting ready to bloom. Hormones at play, estrogen rises, so estrogen is energy, so your energy rises, and FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone, and you are energized. So that being said, you have increased energy, that estrogen boosts metabolism and mood. This is the time to lean into your creativity. So if you're working on a project, I know for me, when I'm writing for YouTube, I write and film during my follicular and ovulation phase because I have the most energy. I have the most sparked creativity. Follicular is when I do my most writing and thinking and brainstorming and researching and reading because I have the energy to think. Something about the hormones, like I know when I'm on my menstrual phase and I'm bleeding, I have period brain. I can't think straight. I'm like, I don't know. Don't talk to me about anything. I'm not sure what's going on. I just want to chill. And so you have high estrogen enhances serotonin and brain function. So that makes sense. Foods. So when I think of the follicular spring phase, as far as foods go, I think of like April on the Amalfi Coast. So bright citrus fruits, oranges and citrines, pear, kiwi, lime, lemon, like those bright, fun, colorful fruits, Protein, chicken, shrimp, eggs, salmon. I literally love to just simply make like a pan-seared salmon with some lemon and some arugula, like an arugula salad with some red onion and Parmesan cheese, olive oil, asparagus, garlic. You have the vitamin C and antioxidants from the citrus fruit. I don't eat veggies, but I do love asparagus and arugula. I will do a steamed asparagus with raw butter and some Parmesan and some lemon that I add with my salmon. Salmon's got obviously healthy omega-3 fatty acids and vitamin E. So good. I love it. Yogurt, regular yogurt. You can have yogurt with some granola and cacao nibs. Cacao nibs have a lot of polyphenol. Oh, I forgot to add in menstruation, dark chocolate. Dark chocolate during menstruation. I forgot to add that. Go back. Dark chocolate during menstruation. Dark chocolate really anytime, it's fine. It's good for your brain. It boosts it boosts dopamine when you're on your period, so that's good. Movement for your follicular phase. This is moderate to vigorous, so because you have more energy and you have more excited, you can move a little bit better. So I am a Pilates girl. I know, it's like, really? Yeah, really. So I'll do reformer, core focus Pilates, but I have a Pilates membership, so I do go to a class, and you can like do different levels, and so I'll do a higher level, more challenging of Pilates during my follicular phase. Obviously, because I have more energy. You can YouTube at home. You can have great workouts at home. I still do at-home workouts, even though I also have a membership. You can buy on Amazon a mat and some ankle weights and like a ball and an inner thigh exerciser for pretty cheap. I should link it. I bought some, and I'll link it below. How's that? I'll link it in the description, the ones that I have. My mat, my ball, my ankle weights, and my inner thigh exerciser. It's good for your pelvic floor muscles, which will help in having a baby someday, so I've heard. But yeah, I'll do more like upbeat, a little bit more challenging workouts, because it matches the rising energy levels. Okay, Bible verses to cling to for this phase. I have Isaiah 40. It's just cute. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on the wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. I love it because you're like, yeah, I'm soaring like an eagle. I'm in my follicular phase. It's springtime in my body, and I'm excited and I'm happy, and the world is great and it's sunshine. It's just cute. It's like encouraging. It helps me embrace and remember that strength, this like new form of energy that I have after being in such a deep winter, And then after your follicular phase, which is spring, we go into ovulation, which is known as your summer phase. So hormones rising in ovulation is LH, luteinizing hormone, surges. This triggers ovulation, and ovulation is when the egg is released. Summertime, think flowers in bloom. So follicular was they were getting ready to bloom. You're feeling good. Ovulation, the flower has bloomed. Like, it's showtime. okay? On Broadway Street, your estrogen peaks. It's at its highest level. So you are so full of energy. You're feeling powerful, motivated, extroverted. You even feel prettier. Like I feel prettier when I'm ovulating, and I want to look prettier, and I play in makeup more, and I'm more ready to go out and like talk to people, and I'm at my highest. And also testosterone is risen, which amplifies your sex drive, which is hilarious because it's like they say men are so sexual, and it makes sense because they're so full of testosterone, but there's a brief moment in time that women are too, and it's this time when that testosterone is up high. So you kind of are, you want to have sex, okay? One thing I've noticed, interestingly enough, about ovulation is that for me, because everything is so heightened, so are my senses. My hearing, food tastes better when I'm ovulating. I notice that like my body is more sensitive, which I suppose would make sense if you want to have sex, if your body wants to have sex, you know? But my hearing, like I hear things, I hear all the little stuff, and it can bother me. Like I have to be careful because I don't want to be in like a loud environment, because I'm like, ooh, that's like too loud. And also like my hair touching my neck or something, or like certain clothes I wear, I can just feel it on my skin, and I'm like, so there are some downsides to ovulation, is that for me at least, I'm just extra sensitive. Like the nerves are just like sounds and tastes. And like I said, my hair and certain clothes, like I can wear tighter clothes because I'm not bloated and I feel better, but it's like material. It's so hard to explain, but it's kind of cool because it makes sense. It's like if everything's more sensitive, you know. Diet is very similar to the follicular phase diet, except with an increase of oysters, sardines. Oysters are high in zinc, and they also boost your libido. Not like you need it, but it does help. It helps. And it helps with fertility. So if you're looking to get pregnant and you're struggling with infertility, I have heard it said that eating oysters does a thing or two. And I can attest that eating oysters and sardines are amazing. High in omega-3 fatty acids, are so good for your hair, skin, and nails. Sardines are such an underrated beauty food, I swear. But yeah, grass-fed beef, eggs. Eggs are always good. Egg yolks are so full of choline, and there's hair, skin, and nails. Again, it's one of those beauty foods. The healthy fat in there. Olive oil, raw milk, and cheeses. Again, arugula, red onion, garlic. It's antioxidants and detoxification. Berries, figs, pomegranates. As far as fruit goes, acai. Am I saying that right? And then movement, high intensity. If you're feeling it, I have, like I said, love Pilates, but I also am a gym girl too. During my ovulation, that's like leg day. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll really push heavy on leg day, and it feels so good. And so when I'm ovulating, that's when I choose to go the hardest with the weight, heaviest with the weight, I should say. Okay, Bible verses for this. No surprise. Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Because you're feeling like you can do all things. You're feeling very confident, high energy. It's like bold action and empowerment, you know? I'm so thankful during this phase. I'm thankful in all phases, but especially in ovulation, you just feel on top of the world. And I emphasize to eat super, super healthy because it just boosts it even more. Like I'm very, like I said, I'm carb sensitive. If I eat heavy meals, even in ovulation, man, I just feel, and I don't want to feel like that. I'm like, it's ovulation. Like I want to feel great, and I want to do anything I can to like make it better and to keep it up. You know what I mean? And so oysters and sardines, olive oil, arugula, red onion, figs, pomegranate, all of it. Like I love to help it out in any way that I can. Okay, and then ovulation is when your body wants to get pregnant. If that doesn't take place, if pregnancy doesn't happen during that phase, right? Your egg was waiting. It was waiting for the sperm. She was just all pampered and looking like a queen. She's just like ready to have a cute romantic date with a sperm. If that doesn't take place, she gets sad, and we go into luteal phase. And luteal phase is known as autumn. So think like leaves dying. This is so I don't know who came up with this, but it's so true. And it like is so perfect because yeah, like the egg is sad. You know, her Prince Charming didn't arrive and she's a drama queen. And it's like, oh, poor me. And she is falling away like dead leaves in the autumn. That's so depressing, but it's okay. Okay, so hormones. This is when progesterone rises. Progesterone is known to have like a calming, almost sedative effect. And so that's what makes you feel low and calm during your luteal phase. This is also kind of like when PMS might take place, premenstrual syndrome, which is when you'll be emotional, moody, sensitive, and touchy, like don't mess with me, you know, I'm not feeling well. Your luteinizing hormone, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone that happened in ovulation, that is low. So that kind of goes away. Like I said, PMS, irritability, mood swings, the decrease of estrogen and the increase of progesterone decreases serotonin. So you just don't feel happy. This is when depression can happen, high anxiety can happen, irritability. This was so hard for me when I was working, and I was, like I said, when I was 29, just like a year ago, I just didn't want to deal with people. I didn't want to deal with people, and I needed patience. I needed patience. It can be a rough time. So please go easy on yourself during this time. This is why it's important to cycle sync, and this is why it's important to know these things about ourselves, because I didn't know. I would have moments in high school and during when I was working, and I was depressed and I would get anxious, and it would be like a surge of depression and like a surge of anxiety and a surge of irritability. And it's like the wrong in my life was just amplified by these hormones. I could really lash out. I could really say some hurtful things. I could really have no control of my emotions, and I could really sink down deep. And it's a scary time. Now that I've quit working and I'm married and I'm genuinely happier with my life, I removed myself from toxic environments and even some friendships. It's really interesting how now, when I have my luteal phase, it is not nearly even close to what it used to be in terms of depression, anxiety. I don't experience that. I actually just simply experience what I believe all women are supposed to experience, which is you're just low key and you don't really have depression or anxiety. You might feel a bit apathetic about life. It's okay. You don't always have to feel like you're ovulating because you're not always ovulating. It's okay. What I'm saying though is that it's interesting how my life and my circumstances have changed, how much easier this luteal phase is because I have a fantastic husband. I'm not working at a job I can't stand anymore. I don't have bad friendships. I have beautiful friendships now. And I don't experience that intense despair and just discomfort of life. It can be brutal this time. It can be very, very, very brutal. It's very similar to your menstrual. You have cravings, you're bloated, you retain water. It is so important for us women to vocalize to our loved ones how we're feeling, especially men. They can't read our mind. Men can't read our mind. They shouldn't have to. They sometimes can't even read their own mind. They're just trying to survive every day, okay, with their own pressures and things they have going on. It is our job as women to vocalize our needs, like clearly and boldly. Just vocalize it. And it's not always about what you say, it's how you say it. Again, I'm lucky because my husband, he knows me very well, and he's so sweet, and he gets me lemon water, and he gets me a pizza if I want it from my favorite spot. He'll make me a nice steak, and he'll give me a blanket, and he doesn't need to do that, but I don't need him to do that, but he does it, and it's really sweet. Now, if you don't have a husband that's like that, I don't have good advice other than to pray, because I know a lot of men, they don't understand the emotional side of that, and they don't always know what a woman needs. And this is for you men. One of the most masculine things a man can do is be attentive to her emotional needs. And I know that that's really hard for men to do because men aren't that emotional. Some men, they don't receive that well, and they don't know what to do with that information. Life is a dance, and it takes prayer, and it takes work. Marriage is not easy. Marriage is absolutely, it takes work. It takes selflessness on both parties. I have to be selfless, and so does he. And during this luteal phase, don't sink into your emotions, sink into the word. I'm going to read some funny verses that genuinely cracked me up, but it just goes to show the importance of not getting into your emotions and really just relying on God during this really difficult time. Proverbs 12:4, a worthy wife is a crown for her husband, but a disgraceful woman is like cancer in his bones. Yikes. Don't be a disgraceful woman. So how do you not be a disgraceful woman? My girl, you soak in this word, number one. Proverbs is a great book to read about wisdom and knowledge and character development. Know yourself. Ask the Lord to help you know yourself. If you feel like you have a hard time understanding yourself, again, this is why cycle syncing is so important, because the more you know, the more you know. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. It makes sense why I feel this way. And then you can vocalize that to your husband. I'm not feeling right. I need your patience. I'm feeling sassy. I'm feeling moody. And I don't feel good. Why does this make me cry? I'm not in my luteal phase, but I'm crying because like it's so refreshing to be able to have a husband that I can say that to, and I don't feel made fun of. I don't feel like an annoyance to him. I don't feel like a burden because he doesn't make me feel that way. He listens so well. Like I remember the first time I figured this out about myself, that I was in my luteal and I was just like not feeling good. I was feeling so sassy. I also was working. I don't experience this now because I don't work. He freed me from that. He literally freed me from that. So now my luteal phase is calm. It's just calm. But there was a time that it wasn't calm. It was really, really difficult. And I was like cancer in his bones. And I was sassy. And I was easily triggered and irritable. And I just kind of broke down in tears. And he just hugged me. And he's like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? And he's like, is there anything I'm doing, Courtney, to make you feel like this? And it was just so beautiful. And that's such a masculine thing. It was the most masculine thing because I just looked up at him and I was like, this is all I need you to do, is just hear me and love me and don't make me feel, because for the first time, I didn't feel like I was annoying him or I got an eye roll or you're just too emotional, you're just a woman, blah, 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 blah. He was like, he sat down, like he got down on my level. He got down a whole 1.5 feet to my level and like held my hand and held my face and was like, honey, what can I do? I'm here. Thank you for telling me, Courtney, because he doesn't know. He's like, I didn't know you were feeling like that. Do you know how helpful it is for a man to hear very clear, decisive words? I'm feeling this way. I need this. I need help here. I appreciate when you do this, this, and this. Whatever the case might be. In my case, it was like, I would appreciate it if you would work harder so I don't have to work and I can stay home and be a happier girl. And that's funny, but it did come true. He was like, you know what? You got it. You got it, babe. You know, I am a lucky son of a gun. I know that. I'm very blessed. And I'm sorry if I sound like I brag. It's just, he's incredible. Long story short, I'm just saying that we gotta know ourselves. We gotta take that time to be with the Lord and to know ourselves so that we don't project it onto our loved ones and to our husbands. And if you have a husband that's difficult and he's not like my Chase and he doesn't understand these things and he's not willing to be masculine and love you in the way that you deserve to be loved and the way God wants you to be loved, if he's not like that, well, the last thing that we should do as women is make it worse and become, like Proverbs said, cancer in his bones. Because I know there's a verse that says that if you have an unbelieving husband or you have a husband that's hard and difficult, by the conduct of the wife having a meek and gentle dove-like spirit, you will actually win your husband over time. And with prayer, you can win him over with time and he can soften up and he can see. And I've seen that happen with people I know in my life whose husbands aren't believers or they're just like that, I'm not into all that. And because she just stayed steadfast in prayer, and even though it was hard, and she stayed in the word and asked the Lord, give me patience, give me strength. This man is so difficult. Help me have a gentle, quiet spirit, even though I want to scream. A couple years later, he came to Christ and he was like, you have always been amazing and I'm sorry that I made this so difficult. It's like that song by Lee Bruce, Hard to Love. Very sweet. He's like, I'm hard to love, I know that. And it changed. He became a softer man, which is actually more masculine. And it's a beautiful story. I'm so happy for this person. So that's why it's important that we don't be like cancer in his bones. And it takes a lot of strength and courage and prayer and devotion to the Lord for us to be made into a Christ-like, meek and mild spirit that will win the husband over. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as constant dripping on a rainy day. It's better to live alone in the corner of an attic than with a quarrelsome wife in a lovely home. It's better to live alone in the desert than with a quarrelsome, complaining wife. These are wicked. But it's true. It's true. So I have these scriptures to say, Don't be that woman. And the way to not be that woman is to, like I said, you gotta know yourself. You gotta be honest with yourself. You gotta confront the issues. Take a look at your life. If there's things off in your life, if there's things that are wrong in your life, your job, problems in your marriage, problems with yourself, insecurities, deep-rooted insecurities, trauma that has not been worked through and brought to the foot of the cross, all of these things, if they have not been worked on, when your luteal phase hits, it will magnify. And that happened to me. My trauma, alcohol addiction, I couldn't stand my job anymore. I had really bad friendships, even friendships that were lifelong friendships, but I outgrew them because I grew to Christ, and I was feeling it, the tension, and everything was off, and it really came out during my luteal phase. And in a way, I'm thankful for that, because it was so abrupt and crazy that it forced me to sit down and be like, what is going on with me? I needed new friends. I needed to quit my job. I needed to stop drinking wine, like all of these things. And so I'm just saying that it's a good time of magnification and reflection, dependence on the Lord. Sorry, I'm really going off on luteal phase, but it's really, really important. It's one of the most humbling and honest phases because it's hard. It's a hard phase. If your life is already a mess, it magnifies in luteal. 2 Corinthians 12:9, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly about my weakness, so that Christ's power may rest on me. And again, this PMS and this fatigue and irritable and upset, it can be very challenging. And this verse offers a lot of comfort, reminds you that you're not doing this alone, and the grace of God can sustain you through this and walk you through it, whatever it is that you need to handle or deal with. Or maybe it's right. And by the way, there's good news. It's possible that, like me, where I stand now, my luteal phases that I hit, they are not like they used to be. They're very calm. They're peaceful. And I'm just feeling a little sleepy. I just want to go sit on the beach and I just want to read my Bible and I just want to relax by myself. And that's beautiful and that's fine. But there was a time it was hard. And so anyways, that being said, lastly, for luteal phase, movement is going to be similar to menstrual, just low, calm walking, lower level Pilates, maybe not so much heavy weight in the gym. I do a lot of stretching in this phase because my muscles start to get really tense. And so I'll just go for like a nice walk or do a like level 1 Pilates, and then I'll just stretch. Like I do a lot of stretching just to relieve my muscles and to relax and like lessen any tension that might be there. So food, chicken, eggs, grass-fed beef, oysters. It's kind of a mix of everything. It's like a mix of what you would eat in your menstrual cycle, as well as like the follicular phase. So chicken, also beef, sardines, oysters. Raw milk is so good. Bone broth. But that wraps up this video. I know that was a lot of information. And again, like I said, just take everything with a grain of salt. This is my experience. I hope this video brought you comfort and clarity if you were confused about anything, and just a target to focus on our femininity, and that it is so important to understand ourselves and to listen to the one who made us to help us understand ourselves. Thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe, the whole deal. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video.